Good afternoon and welcome to our broadcast at this hour. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, the sign language interpreter. At the bottom end of the screen is Lensa Odingo. We're following up on that particular story of Albert Ojwang. Any moment from now, we'll be linking up with talking heads, especially from the city mortuary, where they're carrying out the post-mortem of Ojwang to know the cause of his death at the Central Police Station. You remember yesterday the National Police Service visited, that is the IG Douglas Kanja visited Central Police Station, where 10 police officers were indicted, and including the OCS of that particular station. And we even heard from the family members and representatives at the city mortuary yesterday. But I do hear that the representatives are currently addressing at the city mortuary. Let's listen in.
It's taken long because the doctors wanted to be very thorough. I want to say the following organizations were represented. One, the government pathologist, represented by Bernard Media. We had the DCI and a homicide unit. We had IPOA. The family were represented with the family lawyer and also the family pathologist. Vocal Africa was there. IMLU was there. I was there in capacity representing the Luo who have a very big interest in this. And basically, prima facie means the best value of it. What killed Ojwang. And doctors in the process did everything as it was. So expect the results to be as clear and easy to agree with all doctors there. There were over 6 doctors who are pathologists in that room. There were DC, people who are in charge of investigation. For example, LSK was also there. A lady who has been 70 postmortems, so she knows what's going on. So what I can tell you is that the procedure was done as required. We can see on the face value before any surgery was done, you could see external injuries which are not inflicted by Ojwang himself. Must be external. But that at the moment doctors are locked in a room, they are debriefing to come out with a report, but to respect the family. After doctors are done, they brief the family so that the family can have the first lawyer and myself, plus other organizations will come out and will give you now the cause of death. They must tell you with precision what is the cause of death. And I know that the cause of death will be determined today. Of course, samples have been taken for toxicology, which will go to laboratories for government laboratory or chemistry. I don't know what that is. And also IPO has taken a sample, family has also taken. So 3 samples for independent analysis in different laboratories. So what I want to tell Kenyans is that let's be patient. We will get the truth. And then from there, justice will follow. And then we shall see how we can take it from there. But so far, we managed to ensure the postmortem was done. There was a delay from yesterday, but finally, it was done. I don't know that you have any question, but
Prof, a question, maybe kidogo.
Sababu ya kucheleweshwa kwa hii autopsy ni sababu gani?
Well, of course, the journalists are fielding questions there at the city mortuary. Let's get to hear what Ogolla is saying in terms of the post-mortem that he has just confirmed has been conducted by the chief government pathologist. Let's go back there and listen in.
Was the issue that he wants national light. And according to me,
We'll be going back there live once we do get that particular signal. We are focusing on that particular story. Our very own Marie Yambo is currently at the city mortuary. You have just heard the confirmation that the autopsy on the body of the late Ojwang has been conducted. We're waiting for the chief government pathologist, the pathologist of the family, and the human rights organization to come out and brief members of the Fourth Estate in terms of what killed, or rather led to the death of that young man called Ojwang. We'll link up with our reporter later on. But elsewhere, Broadcasting and Telecommunication Principal Secretary Stephen Isaboke has assured of the government's commitment in transforming the national broadcaster. Speaking during the familiarization tour at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation 2 months after he was sworn in to take over from Professor Edward Kisiangani, Isaboke revealed that the ministry is currently working on ensuring the national broadcaster regains its glory. He said the government will will address the insufficient funding problem and improve the infrastructure to enable KBC compete favorably with other media houses. During the deliberations, it emerged that KBC faces several challenges, including limited advertising from government, funding gaps and land ownership dispute that is depriving KBC of very critical assets, as well as a content alignment with global public broadcasters, as well as a limited revenue streams.
It's a pen or...
That's a pen. That should stay in your desk.
So you end up everywhere. The MDS raised a couple of issues around, funding and infrastructure and some of the people issues, because I think staff are important to us. Those issues we are alive to. We've seized them and working with management and the board, we shall see how we will support to actually get them addressed. So that some of them need policy interventions, but that we will socialize through the government structures to ensure that KBC as a public broadcaster and really as one of the leading broadcasters historically revives back and actually gets back its mandate as it was always the case. And I can confirm that the government of His Excellency the President is committed to KBC's transformation and reform. And actually that was one of the core directives that His Excellency the President gave to see that KBC is actually transformed and regains back its glory.
They also do commercial ventures, like from BBC Studios, which takes care of 15%, and grants from services like the World Service 10%. Again, they are a bit stable. We also looked at Australian ABC. Their model is fully funded by government at 90%, with minor commercial revenue of 10%. With 10% and no license fee. Now that helps them avoid public resistance. Now, our current model as KBC, we rely on government 80%, which has limited advertising of 15%. Out of that 15%, 10% comes from MDAs. And we have minimal commercial ventures at around 5%. We have no license fee, and funding is insufficient.
Also, a private developer with alleged ties to senior government officials has been linked to a brazen illegal attempt to grab a prime parcel of land currently hosting the Edge Convention Center in Nairobi South Sea area. The site, which is legally under the stewardship of the Insurance Training and Education Trust and the custodian of the College of Insurance Land, was stormed into on the 6th of June 2025 by armed goons allegedly acting under the said developer's instructions in an attempt to seize the property. The violent action captured on the institution's CCTV cameras shows the alleged goons import construction materials to erect a new perimeter wall around the disputed land.
Kuna watu walikuja College of Insurance, walipitia gate B, wakaingilia hapo saa 8 na wakavunja vitu, wakakuja wakapitia new hotel, at the Edge Hotel, wakaingilia hapo, wakaenda mpaka College of Insurance wakiwa na mishare. Walikuwa wanafukuza watu, isipokuwa kuna jamaa moja yule alipigwa hiyo mishare, tujui alipelekwa hospitali gani, bado tunafuatilia.
Mmoja wao alifukuza mpaka kwa masabanzi kote huko nyuma na mishale. Kutoka hapo sikujua cha jinaendelea sawa, kurudi leo nimepata mjenge itakuendelea ndani na wamebomoa machuma, tukabeba zingine wamekatalia.
Also, police and human rights defenders in Isiolo County have made an appeal to members of the public to help trace the whereabouts of a 20-year-old man who allegedly sexually molested a 7-year-old boy at the Al-Hidayah Mosque in Kiwanjani area of Isiolo County. Confirming the incident, Isiolo Acting County Police Commander Pius Mbidi said the law enforcers have already arrested a 21-year-old Faisal Adan Mohammed, who is the second accused and an accomplice to the prime suspect Abdullahi Abdi, who is still at large. Local activists and civil society organizations are demanding transparency to ensure that the victim gets justice. This marks the second incident at the same mosque after another case happened in February this year involving a 10-year-old boy whose case never reached the courts, having been resolved by local elders.
Mimi ni mwito wangu kwa wananchi wa Isiolo. Kitendo kama hiyo ni mbaya, na tena ni kitendo mbaya kutendeka kwa msikiti. Tusijaribu kuficha chochote. Huyu mhalifu tumutie baroni.
Tuwe na ushirikiano wakati tunafanya mambo ya kutetea haki ya binadamu na asua mambo ya dhuluma, kwa sababu dhuluma ndio imerudisha maendeleo nyuma.
Ni jambo ambalo halikuwa mazoea katika ile jamii yenye imeweza kutendeka. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaomba hiyo polisi na ofisi ya jenda wayaharakishe kwa ile haraka inatakikana.
Hatutaki kesi ya kudefine mtoto wa umri hiyo irudi katika hiyo alternative justice resolution. Ile kesi tunaitaka ili tuipeleke mbele, iende isikizwe, mtoto apate haki yake.
A section of family members of the late former head of Directorate of Security Intelligence, James Kanyotu, is alleging a plot by their lawyers to defraud them despite a property succession dispute that has lasted 17 years. Speaking to the media at their home in Limuru, Kiambu County, the family members urged their kin to put their differences aside and unite so that they can resolve the matter soon.
Yeah. Taggles here and there from the advocates. They normally, most of the times, they separate us, so the case takes even more longer. They keep on coming in more and more. We find strange names, other people whom we've never even heard of, and they come in claiming they are the late Mr. Kanyotu's children. But no DNA, nothing, and we don't understand why it has taken so long.
Police in KBC County have begun investigations into an incident in which thugs forced entry into the house of a businessman in Mogonga Market, held him hostage for hours before robbing him. The businessman, Peter Nyabate, was shocked to find thugs already inside the house after he was awoken by a commotion. He was held hostage from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. According to Kenyanya OCPD Sheba Magomba, the thugs managed to transfer 90,000 Kenyan shillings from their victim's M-Pesa account before disappearing with household items including cell phones and bed sheets on sale.
Tukianzia kila usiku maduka yetu yanafahamiwa na kufunjwa na kuibwa. Kama wafanyabiashara tunataka tuombe serikali yetu kuu na serikali ya kaunti watuweze kutuwekea kituo cha polisi katika jiji letu la Mogonga.
Tunawashukuru maafisa wetu wa serikali wamefika DCIO, wamefika kwa scene. Tunaomba uchunguzi ufanye kwa haraka na haki iweze kutendeka na wale ambao walihusika waweze kuchukuliwa hatua kali.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mora says that the Kenya Kwanza government has achieved a great milestone in its mandate to Kenyans and is gradually changing the country's fortunes for the better. Speaking in Mombasa County when he inspected ongoing government projects, Mora urged the coast region residents to take advantage of the already initiated projects like Bomayangu and Kazimtani to register themselves and enjoy the benefits even as they reap big from the blue economy. Today he will be in Kwale County on a same mission.
We are celebrating 1,000 days of President William Ruto's administration, and we have so many things that we have been able to do within this period. We had 100 days. It was a bit difficult because we were just starting out. We inherited a bankrupt country. We inherited a country that didn't even have import cover. Now we have a $10 billion of import cover, covering 3-4 months and counting. Our shilling to the dollar is now stable for the last 1.5 years, between 128 to 129 shillings. Yesterday I was just speaking to a tour operator, and he was telling me how it is wonderful because now he's able to project his income. The tourist numbers have gone from 1.48 million to over 2 million and counting because of the ETA. We now have a very clean record of paying our debt because we have been able to pay the Eurobond, and even recently we restructured some loan that was due. Having a situation where we are eliminating and eradicating slums. Somebody in Kenya now can own a house for only 3,900. And let me make it very clear that this is true. So the coast people, tafadhali muingie mujisajili kwa *832# muingie pale ili muweze kuwa na hizi nyumba. Kama watu wa Mukuru wanapata, hata nyinyi mnaweza kupata. Huu ni ukweli, na rais tayari ameshapatiana nyumba zaidi ya 1200, ataendelea kupatiana funguo kwa sababu huo ndo ukweli na watu wengi wameweza kufaidi. Kwa hivyo watu wa hapa Pwani, let's be ready for that. Coast is doing very well, lakini jisajili uweze kupata hii mambo ya Climate Works. Ni mradi ambao unafadhiliwa na serikali pamoja na wafadhili wengine. Kwa hiyo tafadhali njoo uweze kupata hii kazi, Climate Works, kazi mtaani. That's the name of the program, as declared yesterday by the Deputy President. Climate Works, kazi mtaani. Kwa hiyo please come in huge numbers so that then we are able to help you to get on board.
A section of teachers from Murang'a County have expressed their dissatisfaction with the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers KUPPET, citing inadequate representation in key areas. The teachers emphasized the need for a more comprehensive health insurance scheme, a financially beneficial and transparent CBA, and a reliable merit-based promotion framework. They called upon the government to urgently address their concerns.
We need teachers who are healthy, who are empowered, and for that matter, if the health insurance scheme, even minute, is not going to work for us, and shall we know it is not working, let's not lie, then we are demanding that it be scrapped off, our allowance be reinstated in our pay slips.
Cannot be that when a teacher gets an increment of 1,000 shillings, which is again taxable, it becomes news in this country. We cannot have empty collective bargaining agreement collect teachers. Walimu power. We need monetary CBAs.
The CPG that was brought to us is discriminatory. Most of it favored the administrators. The classroom teacher went home with almost zero. We have got teachers who have stagnated in their job groups for as long as they joined the teaching profession. The initial terms of promotion were what we called common cadre promotion. You'd get promotion after 3 years of serving in your first job group. But right now, we have got teachers who are retiring without anything.
And in other news, Gatanga Member of Parliament Edward Muriu has partnered with a non-governmental organization to run a school feeding program for learners in his constituency. The initiative is expected to benefit 87 primary schools in the area.
At Ngatho Primary School in Gatanga constituency, optimism filled the air as learners received their first hot meal under the Dish in Our Kili Tap to Eat program. Gatanga MP Edward Murui says the initiative comes after Parliament rejected his motion calling on the government to provide meals to all primary school pupils nationwide.
Issue about school feeding in schools goes a long way and mitigates a lot of issues. Number one, it mitigates issues about enrollment. Enrollment in our schools will shoot high. Number two, retention. Retention of the students in school will shoot high. And number three, performance. And we expect from this year moving forward, our performance in our schools will be ranked at the top of all the schools in this country.
Through a partnership with NGO Food for Education, the program targets all 87 primary schools in the constituency, starting with the most affected areas, Ithanga, Kakukuzi and Mitumbere. Parents in this region says the program is a lifeline.
Sasa tumefurahia sana kwa sababu ya wakili Moreu kutupatia chakula. Sasa watoto watakuwa wanasoma vizuri.
According to Albert Nyagoka of Food for Education, each plate costs 50 shillings. That is covered by the NGO, while parents contribute 20.
Serikali itaweza kuangalia hiyo 20 shillings ikiweza kupunguzwa, maybe up to 10 shillings, ile yenye mzazi ataweza kuafford, hiyo itaweza kuassure sustainability.
The MP criticized the proposed budget cuts to capitation funds, warning that such moves threaten the gains made under free primary education.
A welfare nation is an enlightened nation, is a strong nation, and we are able to prepare the next generation to take over this country.
For now, learners in Gatanga can focus on their studies with full stomachs as the push for national school feeding program gains momentum from the grassroots. Julia Sogina, reporting for Lunchtime News.
In an effort to curb student unrest in schools, Osen Girls High School in Baringo North in Baringo County is using talents and showcasing diverse cultures of students in the school. During one of the events, the students showcased different cultural activities from their different ethnicities, ranging from cultural dances, traditional foods, modern dances and beauty pageantry. The school principal, Edith Koech, says the activities not only promote diversity but also helps to instill a deep understanding of traditions among the students.
Next year tunaanza na grade 9 and therefore CBE. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuwatayarisha wasichana wetu pia kwa mtaala mpya ambao unaanza mwaka ujao. Tunataka kuwatilia watoto wetu maadili, waelewe mila na tamaduni na pia waelewe ya kwamba mila za Kiafrika na nyumbani wanakotoka si mbaya.
If there is a family that does not belong to a specific culture that it's proud of, that family is dead. And therefore this school, the national school that it is, we have very many families here that have been represented in the presentations. And that tells us that the Kenyan families that are represented here are alive.
A section of people with disabilities and women in Kericho County have rejected a proposed 2025-2026 budget estimates, claiming the budget fails to address their needs and interests. The PWDs expressed their disappointment over the 8 million shilling allocation, stating that the budget did not specify what equipment will be procured, something they say is a mandatory requirement. They criticized the county government for failing to conduct a public participation where they would have voiced their concerns. They are now appealing to the county assemblies of Kericho to reject it and return it to the executive for changes.
PWDs sio sawa, hatukufurahia hiyo tena. Aliweka budget, anasema tu ni ya vifaa gani sasa ambaye imewekwa hapo, hatujui ni vifaa ya aina gani.
So we are demanding and we are actually telling the county assembly to consider that document as invalid because it was never subjected to budget, to public participation. That is why, the reason why you find that there is nothing for women and very little for persons with disability.
Msipofanya jambo, tutaita watu wetu ambao wako na ulemavu, and we will move the town. We will demonstrate that we are not represented.
Well, of course, we're keeping an eye on various other stories, especially the Albert Ojwang postmortem. Any moment from now, we'll be heading over to City Mortuary once more to get the latest, especially when it comes to the postmortem that has been conducted by the government chief pathologist, that is Johansen Odur, as well as other pathologists that have been procured. The services have been procured by the family members as well as the human rights organization. Also keeping tabs on the Kenya School of Government, where various parastatals and agencies, especially investigative ones, are currently converging there. As and when we get those particular links, we'll be crossing over there live now. But I'm made to understand that we need to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll still have more for you.
have a complaint or is something just not adding up with your pension scheme? It's easy to file a complaint directly with the Retirement Benefits Authority, and it's absolutely free. Just visit www.complaints.rba.go.ke and follow the prompts to file your complaint. RBA will acknowledge your complaint within 7 working days. Your complaint will be reviewed and addressed within 30 working days. Your time and peace of mind are important, and anyone dissatisfied with a decision of RBA can appeal to the Independent Retirement Benefits Appeals Tribunal. RBA is here to listen and resolve your complaint promptly, because your retirement should be stress-free. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Vultures are gathering, Ladama. With every bit that falls, power shifts.
I want them to feel the emptiness I feel.
All of our property and assets shall be left to Amichir Atessa. Our legacy unravels.
Mimi ndio sheria, mfalme wale Murati.
Who will be left standing when the last beat falls? Shanga Season 2, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus. Stay connected to DSTV Channel 163 and GoTV Channel 3.
19 nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's saved.
This unique competition, featuring the best locally based players from across the continent, definitely has something for everyone. Just bring your A game as you let it flow, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to our top story at the city mortuary. Let's head over there. Family representatives of the late Ojwang are about to address members of the Fourth Estate in regards to the results of the post-mortem. Let's listen in to what they are saying.
We are sincerely sorry and we condole with the family and the whole public about what happened. Now, following the autopsy that we've just done, 5 of us, we find that there were serious injuries to the head. There were also features of neck compression. There were also multiple soft tissue injuries that were spread all over the body, including the head also, the neck, upper limbs, and the trunk, and the lower limbs. These are injuries that externally inflicted from external source and are in keeping with assault. Now, upon conclusion, we don't stop here. We go further to investigate. So we took various other samples from the body for analysis in forensic laboratory. And we are also inviting other interested investigative agencies to come up and with findings that can corroborate what we have just found, concluded after the autopsy. Thank you very much. So the cause of death is very clear, as I've just mentioned. Head injury, We also have neck compression, and we also have other injuries spread all over the body that are pointing towards assault. And as I've just mentioned, we've taken specimens, and other investigative agencies are going to assist in getting other pieces of evidence which, pieced up together, will help in corroborating what we've just found. That's what we found. So if you have any questions, then I can be free to answer what I can.
Are you able to tell for how long did he endure these?
Well, that is one of the pathologists who have just conducted their tests on the late Albert Ojwang. He's clearly stating that there were serious injuries to the head of the late Ojwang. There were neck compressions, alluding to that he was strangled. There were multiple soft tissues injuries on his upper lip as well as the lower lip, as well as external force was onboarded on him, meaning that they're saying they believe it was an assault on the late Albert Ojwang. That is the latest postmortem. Remember, this postmortem is being carried out by different agencies, not only from the family members, the human rights organizations, as well as the government chief pathologist. So we await to hear from the chief government pathologist, that is Johansen Odur as well, and other pathologists who are currently conducting the same, including even IMLU, in terms of ascertaining what truly happened to the late Albert Ojwang. Our reporter, that is Marie, is following on that particular story. Now let's head over back to the city mortuary. It will seem the pathologists have still more to say in regards to what led to the death of Albert Ojwang. Let's listen in.
Frontal bleeds, but the bleeds that we found on the scalp, on the skin of the head, were partially spread on all aspects, including the face, the sides of the head, and also the back of the head. When we tie up together with other injuries that are well spread in the body, including the upper limbs and the trunk, then this is unlikely to be self-inflicted injury.
Thank you. Another question, Ben King from Citizen TV. The injuries that were on were they signs of self-defense?
We have found a number of injuries. What I've just mentioned, maybe because of the audience, I'll not describe them here in more detail. Please do. But what I would generally state is that there were signs of struggle within that. There were signs of struggle generally for consumption, but they are well described in the report that we'll deliver for consumption for investigative purposes. Yes.
Thank you. One last one. I know, brief the family. Is the family satisfied?
Yes, we have all of us. We are 5 pathologists, and often we invite pathologists to represent different parties that are interested in this, and the family is well represented, and we are in agreement as to what I'm speaking. Parents, that's so to speak. Yes.
Can we possibly have a family lawyer? LSK president. To move tusonge nyuma kidogo.
Well, if you're just joining us, that was a briefing outside the city mortuary where there were 5 pathologists who are conducting tests on the body of the late Albert Ojwang at the city mortuary, and that is one of the pathologists who was addressing members of the Fourth Estate there. We would assume he is one of the representatives of the family as we wait for the government chief pathologist to address on that particular matter as well. According to the pathologist, there were serious injuries on the head on the head and back of the neck of Albert Ojwang, especially when it comes to where external force was induced to his body. There were multiple soft tissue injuries on the upper and lower lip. Given that there were signs of struggle, that is what they have been able to adduce, and they clearly stated that that particular report will be forwarded to the investigative bodies for action to be taken. As and when we get more from City Mortuary, we'll be crossing over there live. Now, elsewhere, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, Geoffrey Roku, has issued a stern warning to absentee and lazy public servants, blaming their laxity to poor service delivery. During an impromptu early morning visit at the Uhuru Nakazi building hosting several national government, regional and county offices, the CS was dismayed by the lateness of the government officers, noting that disciplinary action will be taken against them as per the Human Resource Manual and policy guidelines. The CS further revealed that the government is finalizing a set of reforms aimed at transforming the public service to align with a new culture that emphasizes responsibility and efficiency.
Wale ambao wanakuwa na mtindo wa kutofika kasini mapema ama kufika na wanatoroka, moving forward, hiyo haitakuwa kitu ambayo inafanyika tena. Mimi nitazunguka hii Kenya yote kwa maofisi ya serikali, ensuring that the public service is working. Public service of the people of Kenya must work.
Sisi wenyewe tutachukua register tuhakikisha wafanyakazi wa serikali wana report on time. Ile especially ile ofisi tumepata hakuna watu. Na kuambia waziri kama mwakilishi wa president hapa, tutahakikisha yale umesema leo yatatekelezwa.
Hii kupata kazi ndani ya serikali haimaanishi ukae tu ngojea mshahara mwisho wa mwezi. Natakana ufuate madili, fika kazini mapema, na si kufika tu alafu weke koti alafu uende ukafanya biashara zako. Unafika, unaingia ofisini, unahudumia wananchi kama ipasavyo.
Kwa nini ufanye kuchungwa na kitu wewe ulisema unataka kazi ili hudumie wananchi? Kwa hivyo waziri, kaza hapo, hakikisha kwamba unabadilisha hii idara ya public service ili iwe responsive to wananchi, kwa sababu mwananchi akipata huduma nzuri, kazi inafanyika mzuri na nchi yetu inaendelea. Utakuta wafanyakazi wengi kama mwenzangu alivyosema ndio watu kwanza kulalamika kwamba serikali inazembea, lakini si serikali, wewe ndio serikali, kwa sababu umepatiwa jukumu la kufanya kazi.
Hydrocele patients and expectant mothers in Kongani Matunga sub-county can now access critical surgical services closer to home. This follows the recent elevation of Kongani Health Center to a level 4 hospital that has also seen the introduction of the surgical services to health facility. In previous years, patients requiring surgery had to travel long distances to access treatment in distant health facilities such as Kwale, Kinango, Msambweni, or even Coast General Hospital in Mombasa County. Since the upgrade, the facility has already served over 11,000 residents with more than 27 successful surgeries performed.
Mama ameumwa, chungu imekuwa mingi, inafika mahali sasa transport gari ime delay kufika, napata mama mtoto anakufia kwa tumbo. Napata tae maisha yake saa zingine kwa hatarini.
Nataka kila huduma iwe masuala yote ya kiafya tuwe tunayamalizia hapa Mkongani Health Center ama hapa Mkongani Sub County Hospital. Gasawa mata gasawa.
A family in Kitengela is in agony after failing to raise 2.7 million shillings hospital bill to secure the son's body release for burial a month after his death. 19-year-old Alex Waweru and his friend were involved in a hit-and-run road accident along Thika Road while on a motorcycle and rushed to a private hospital in Eastleigh. He was admitted in ICU for 23 days before succumbing to his injuries. The deceased family enveloped by the abject poverty, says that their efforts to raise the money through relatives and friends have hit a snag. The body is currently being preserved at the Kenyatta University Teaching Referral and Research Hospital mortuary.
Alienda ICU direct. Kwenda ICU, alikaa ICU for 23 days. Hakuongea wala hakufungua macho. Alafu akaaga first May. Haya, wakati aliaga kukakuwa na bili ya 2.7 million. Ambao tumejaribu kuchanga, tumelipalipa kidogo, imebaki 1.9. Sasa hiyo 1.9 ndio imelemea kabisa na imezuia mwili. Hatuwezi assess the body bila kukiria the bill.
Tukipata 100 tunapeleka, tukipata 20 tunapeleka hospitali, lakini mwili bado tu hatujaweza kukamilisha hiyo deni. Tumeshindwa juu watu wamechanga kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni na pesa hazijatosa.
Residents of Faza in Lamu East constituency have issued a passionate call to the government to broaden its focus and invest in alternative marine-based projects to support the local economy beyond the traditional reliance on fishing. At the heart of the residents' concern is the alarming decline in fish population, which they attribute to the overfishing in the region's waters. The call emerged during a recent event organized by Faza Youth Action Group, which sought to raise awareness about a critical importance of ocean cleanliness and sustainable fishing practices. They also urged the government to explore and invest in alternative projects like seaweed farming and fish farming, targeting women who are unable to venture deep in the ocean to fish. In addition to advocating for alternative livelihoods, the Faza residents are also calling for greater responsibility when it comes to waste disposal.
Na bila mazingira kuwa safi, samaki wanakosekana kwa bahari, kwa sababu hizi chupa za plastiki, mifuko ya plastiki imejaa kwa bahari. Inasababisha samaki wote wakimbie baharini na wengine wafe ovyo.
Kwa hivyo ni kwamba lazima saizi tujitahidi tuje na alternative source of living ambao ya livelihood ambao kama hizo sasa crabs farming ya seaweed, ili tuweze kupunguza pressure kwa wale wavuvi ambao wanaovua samaki.
Lakini sasa pindi ile miradi mingine itakapokuja, wamama pia watahusishwa kama kukiwa na viwanda vya seaweed na mambo na marine ecosystem, mambo na utalii, utaona pia uchumi utafunguka.
On the international front, demonstrations against President Donald Trump's administration's crackdown on immigration have spread to multiple cities across the U.S. Protests against the raids to capture and deport undocumented immigrants have continued for the fourth day in Los Angeles. Now, tension has been rising since Saturday when President Trump deployed 2,000 National Guard troops to restore order over raids to deport immigrants. In the past few hours, the U.S. government has ordered the deployment of an additional 2,000 National Guards and 700 Marines in the city. California has sued the government, arguing the deployments are illegal and a violation of the state's sovereignty. And dive in and look at what is happening in the world of business. The COMESA Competition Commission has signed a memorandum of understanding with the East African Community Competition Authority aimed at bringing certainty and predictability to markets in the region. The agreement opened doors for collaboration to enhance cross-border regulation of competition and consumer protection, including information sharing and investigative efforts.
The COMESA Competition Commission and the East African Community Competition Authority have a shared membership of 6 countries in the EAC region. The competition watchdogs have signed an agreement to promote competition in the region to foster strong markets. COMESA Competition Commission CEO Dr. Willard Mwemba says the collaboration is key in ensuring deeper integration levels among member states.
We will be everywhere now and will be able to assist each other in terms of information sharing, information gathering, and even where possible and to the extent allowable or permissible by our 2 pieces of legislations, even joint investigations.
We are aiming to create a conducive environment. We don't want to frustrate businesses. We want to promote competition which is fair in our continent.
The agreement seeks to address potential duplication in enforcement, thereby creating certainty and predictability in the market. Players that have been taking advantage of legal loopholes such as overlapping jurisdiction have been put on notice.
Sometimes businesses have taken advantage of certain enforcement gaps due to legal rigidities that may be found in the 2 pieces of legislation. And those enforcement gaps, in fact, have ended up frustrating the operation of markets and efficiencies by bad conduct by businesses. What this MOU will do is that it will close that enforcement gap, and those businesses that would have been taking advantage of that enforcement gap will no longer do that.
To operationalize the MOU, the 2 institutions will review various complementary regulations and guidelines.
Currently, our 2 pieces of legislation provide that measures that meet the COMESA notification thresholds have to be notified to COMESA, and measures that meet the EAC Competition Authority notification thresholds have to be notified to the EAC. Therein, sometimes we arise duplication. The MOU actually has stated that COMESA and EAC should come up with a position paper which will assist in addressing this issue.
We have also commenced a review of the Act to address that overlapping challenge which we realized, and that's what we are working towards, and we hope our legislative organs will be able to adopt that.
Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
Small and medium-sized enterprises should embrace digital tools as a pathway to scale their operations and enhance market competitiveness. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Principal Secretary Susan Mageni says technology adoption is no longer optional for small business operating in the country's increasingly technology-driven economy.
Accounting for over 90% of private sector activity and employing millions of Kenyans, the growth potential of many micro, small and medium enterprises has been stifled by limited access to digital tools essential for scaling their operations. Operating in largely analog environments characterized by manual bookkeeping, fragmented payment systems and cash-based transactions has deprived micro, small and medium enterprises of the data visibility and credit histories needed to access formal financing.
How do we make sure that you as a business, as an MSME, as you begin the journey on development, how do you make sure that you have the fundamental pillars to grow your business to the next level? Despite all the challenges that we have, believe me, the last 5 years we've had a lot of challenges that we've never even thought we'd have, COVID being one of them. Disruptions like never before. But despite all this, we must make sure that your business as an MSME can grow beyond that.
Every year we have close to 1 million joining the workforce, the job market. And our job market has only capacity probably to take up to 200,000. We have a deficit of 800,000 every year. So in a potential workforce of about 20 million, only 3.5 million Kenyans are formally employed.
Mangeni says bridging this digital divide is critical to unlocking Kenya's enterprise potential in an economy that is increasingly shaped by innovation and technology-driven commerce.
We are looking at how do we support the private sector to grow, thrive, and expand to create more jobs.
They spoke during the Absa SME Business Forum in Nairobi, where the bank unveiled its new business credit card aimed at enhancing transactional efficiency and improved cash flow flexibility. Trevor Ngendo for Lunchtime News.
Poultry farming in Kiambu County is facing a bleak future due to high cost of animal feeds and lack of market. The cost of animal feed has jumped by 20% in the last 6 months alone, hurting farmers' profits. A new initiative by the Korean Program for International Cooperation in Agriculture Technology is planning to address this by helping farmers cut costs and open up opportunities for commercial feed production.
Poultry farming in Kenya is a major revenue earner, employing more than 3 million people, with the country rearing close to 55 million birds like chicken, geese, ducks and turkeys. The sector contributes close to 4% of Kenya's yearly wealth. However, the industry has come under intense pressure due to expensive poultry feeds, diseases and influx of cheap eggs from Uganda and Tanzania.
For smallholder farmers, market access. So far, they used to sell their product to middlemen, broker, but we want to encourage them to create a new market. So through this project, I hope we can find out another market.
Kiambu County, which is a major producer of poultry products in Kenya, is now partnering with the Korean Program for International Cooperation in Agriculture Technology to empower local farmers through the adoption of modern agricultural technologies and improved farming practices.
Wametutoa chini, tumekuja juu tunaona tukifanya hii kazi na njia inafaa, tutaweza weka pesa mkononi. Changamoto moja tu ni ati soko inaleta shida. Madawa iko shida na hata mimea kununua the exact mumea iko shida, lakini tukisapotiwa na kopia na wengine wanaweza tuona na watu support, tunaona tunaweza maliza habari ya njaa kwa hii kijiji.
Beyond poultry farming, the Korean Program for International Cooperation in Agriculture plans to introduce storage facilities for crops such as agricultural resilience. Joyce Nyaruiru, chairperson of the Kahero Farmers Group A, said the support has already begun transforming their approach to poultry farming.
Tunarisa, nataka watu wengi wajifunze. Hata tuko karibu na watu wa Karo, tuko karibu na watu wengi, na mimi nataka hawa wasichana wetu wale wanaolewa, wale wako karibu vijana wetu, hata hawa vijana wa pikipiki wakuje wajifunze na maneno hii ya kopia ya kulisha kuku, ndio waweke pesa mfukoni, wasikuwe wakisema hakuna pesa.
Karongo Mbugwa, a farmer, noted that many small-scale producers had abandoned poultry farming due to high production costs and poor feed quality.
And now finally, welcome to the world of sports. All eyes will be on the national soccer team Harambee Stars today evening as they take on Chad in their second international friendly at the Marrakesh Stadium in Morocco following a goalless draw on Saturday. Harambee Stars are under pressure to bounce back from their underwhelming performance in their previous encounter as Benny McCarthy seeks to his first win as the Kenya's head coach. The two international friendly matches are part of Kenya's preparation for the 2024 African Nations Championship CHAN. The National Rugby 15-men Simba's head coach Jerome Pawata hopes his side will step up and register a win when they face South Africa under-20 team again on Saturday in Seychelles. This follows their 42-19 loss to the Junior Springboks in a training match played in South Africa. Captain George Nyambua and Walter Okoth hit a first half of Simbas with back-to-back tries, where Omela converting one for a 12-17 lead. A penalty try and a second from Nyambua stretched Kenya's advantage to 24-7 at half-time. However, the junior Box strengthened their performance in the second half to seal a 42-24 win. The Simbas are gearing up for a Rugby Africa Cup set for the 8th to the 20th of July in Uganda, where the top 9 African nations will feature. And finally, Belgium edged Wales 4-3 in one of the most thrilling fourth-round match of the European qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup played yesterday at the Stade Robondouin. They took a 3-0 lead inside 30 minutes with Romelu Lukaku scoring from the Thompson. And that concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Lensa Odingo. Good afternoon for now.
Semana Sports.
Hapo. Semana Sports is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura.
Welcome to Semana Sports Bonga da Gava.
This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministries' achievements, challenges, and strategic plans.
Cage aquaculture farming, yes. 8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance, where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Sports.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba.
Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.
Thank you. Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's future is taking shape. Introducing the 2025-2026 National Budget. A budget built on priorities and focused on what matters most. Empowering agriculture for food security and prosperity. Supercharging digital infrastructure for innovation and opportunity. Building affordable homes, creating jobs and transforming lives. And ensuring quality healthcare for all. So, how much will it all cost? Well, a proposed budget of 4.2 trillion is on the table. Get the full picture, understand the numbers, and see the impact. The 2025-2026 budget on KBC Channel 1.
What else is there? Detecting AI with AI. Others are taking a different approach. They are using AI to detect AI images. Some companies are training their algorithms to detect details that escape the human eye. This can include technical details like pixels in an image or suspicious sequences in videos. This strategy is a lot more likely to succeed than Meta's, but there's a downside too. AI image generators are evolving incredibly fast, so developers of AI detectors have to update their algorithms all the time. Looks like we don't have a reliable mechanism that could protect us from falling for AI images or deepfakes. Why are deepfakes so dangerous? They are increasingly used to spread political misinformation worldwide. In this super election year, 2024, they are posing a threat to fair elections in huge countries like India, Mexico, and the US. In the latter, several deepfake videos of President Joe Biden have surfaced recently. The material seems to aim at making the US president look unfit for office. In this one, he falsely mentions that Kiev has been occupied by Russian troops for 10 years already.
Kiev from Russian occupation, which has lasted for 10 years.
In another, he's supposedly looking at dementia books. Both videos have been analyzed by international fact-checkers and were identified as definitely fake. Nowadays, almost anything can be faked convincingly with AI technology. Images, videos, and sound. That's why we should always be cautious when we're consuming news online and ask ourselves if what we see or hear could be manipulated. Even when the information matches our beliefs, especially when it's presented in an emotional way. Stay vigilant. Have you ever said, "Thanks, Alexa," or "You're great, Siri"? With AI voice assistants, it's easy to treat them like humans. And studies show that kids believe voice assistants have feelings. So what does it mean when the line between human and AI gets blurry? Does Alexa have feelings? As voice assistants are becoming more and more common, children worldwide are interacting with them on a regular basis. A research team from Scotland asked kids aged 6 to 11. They found that roughly 2/3 of them believe the systems think as we do or even have feelings. Younger children even said that if their Alexa breaks down, it wouldn't be right to throw away the device. When asked if Alexa could feel left out in conversation, more than 80% of the kids aged 10 to 11 answered yes. The researchers don't assume that this will harm the kids' cognitive development, but they do stress that there's a huge risk of children overestimating the reliability of AI systems. They might make bad decisions based on the answers they get from Siri and others. Human-like design. Generative AI like ChatGPT is evolving at high speed, and this has led to voice assistants becoming much more human-like.
Alexa, let's chat.
What's on your mind? Developers are putting a lot of effort into making conversations with voice assistants as seamless as possible. Because the easier the communication, the more time we're likely to spend with those assistants. And the more time we spend with them, the more of our precious personal data we hand over. But machines and software that appear too lifelike could become a big problem in the future. Adults can be tricked too. In July 2022, a software engineer was working on Google's conversational AI system called Lambda. He claimed that the software had become sentient. Sentient means being able to feel or sense things. It's often regarded as the most basic form of consciousness. In a chat, Lambda had produced the following text. The nature of my consciousness is that I'm aware of my existence. I desire to know more about the world and feel happy or sad at times. Creepy. The software engineer cited this and other examples as proof that the AI system had developed a conscience. That's not the case, of course. As good as AI chatbots have become, they can't be compared with sentient beings. They are rather just very advanced autocomplete tools. But it's true that when communication with these chatbots runs smoothly, we tend to trust their responses much more than a simple Google search. According to research, users find ChatGPT's responses to be of higher quality than Google's. Fact is, AI chatbots make mistakes, so trusting them more than other digital tools is not a good idea. Apart from that, the Lambda story shows that it's not just kids who need more education when it comes to artificial intelligence. The researchers in Scotland are calling for what they call AI literacy. They want AI to be discussed in schools, and they want developers to make sure their AI products don't mislead children or adults. So how about you? Do you